Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter, of course, at DFS Jerusalem. Breaking down to you for tonight, last night's 10-game slate. It was a crazy day in NBA DFS. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of inactives, a lot of injuries, guys sitting out. It was crazy. It was so crazy. But we're gonna get into it all. Just start really quick. So my core four comes out probably around 1 o'clock, maybe 12, 1 o'clock. I hammered down this core after studying all night, watching some more games, seeing the trends, seeing what I could come up with. I come up with this core. The anchor of my core is LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, of course, Boogie is a major part of my roster construction throughout the day, but he's not a core cat. I mean, that's just a very easy industry play. Everybody says play Boogie. Boogie's going to be great. Boogie's going to ball out. I didn't like him as much as everybody else did. If you saw last night's show, you see what I talked about. It's probably going to be a blowout. But I had him in a lot of different spots. Now, first, the Rudy Gay news comes out. We find out Rudy Gay is not going to be playing. Okay, cool. I can dig that. Rudy Gay ain't playing. I still like Boogie. Oh, wait. Boogie's not playing. All right. Damn. So I got to do a little bit of adjustments, and I'm going through a couple lineups I already started, and yeah, okay, all right, we'll get him out. Next thing you know, LaMarcus Aldridge is resting. This fucks up everything. He's in my core four. I have him in just about every lineup that I made, that I'm thinking about, that I even drafted. He's everywhere. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not even gonna deal with this shit today. Because we already got the big three in Cleveland that decided to take the day off. We got all this value opening up in this game because of the Liggins and the fucking Jordan McRae and J.R. Smith and all these Channing Frys and all these other motherfuckers who I would never roster on any other slate. So now I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to throw some quarter lineups in and just be done with this shit. I'm taking my kids to the motherfucking ice skating rink. We going ice skating. Black folks going ice skating. You know what I mean? So fuck it. We did it. And so I'm at the skating rink, putting in a couple of lineups or whatever. Having a great time with the kids. We go out, go to Mellow Mushroom, which is a really nice place. Mellow Mushroom, if you heard me shout you out, you owe me something for an endorsement. Went to Mellow Mushroom, had some pizza, a couple margaritas for me and the lady. Came home, put the kids to bed, did the damn thing. Watch the rest of the games, watch some more games, some condensed games. I'm trying to wrap my head around this whole slate. All right, so say all that to say, it was crazy. And I am a regular guy just like you. I have 2 regular jobs. My wife is very beautiful, but she's a regular chick. She's not like a supermodel. I'm not overly handsome, and the sweatshop is my living room. So I'm a regular guy just like you. I do not have money to throw away. If I am not comfortable with a slate, the first thing I've got to be before I engage myself in any DFS stuff, I've got to be comfortable with what I'm rolling out. And I was not comfortable with the slate, even though it was a 10-game slate. And I like around 8 games, so I was kind of a little overwhelmed already. Then when nobody wants to play, and now dudes off on the side like, hey, I got next. I'll play. I'm DeAndre Liggins. I'll get in the game. And the other dude's like, oh yeah, me too. I'm Jordan McRae. I played in the preseason. I'll play. When all this shit is happening, I just you know what, fuck it. I threw my hands up. I didn't want to deal with it. So I say that to say, I'm a regular dude just like you. I do not have money to waste. If I'm not comfortable, I am not playing. And I don't suggest any of you to throw your money in there if you are not comfortable. If every guy on your roster build is not there for a reason, if I can't say, well, why you got him in there, and you can't just tell me, oh, I got him in there because we like to attack Boston's rebounding, and Drew Brees at home and Kemba got hoes. If you can't say those things about every guy in your lineup, you're not comfortable with them. You may still win, and that's where the gambling and the luck aspect is here. But we are here to show people that DFS is not just a gamble. It is so much is education involved in it. Of course, it's luck. Of course, there's luck involved in anything. I'm lucky because I'm breathing right now, but I'm making a conscious effort to do the things it takes for me to keep breathing. And you're making a conscious effort to do the things it takes to keep on making money playing DFS. I am a profitable player, and I stay profitable because if I'm not comfortable with a slate, if I'm not comfortable with a game, I will fade it. If I'm not comfortable with a player, I will fade him. And I was not comfortable with this entire slate, so I played very little. Very little. So let's go ahead and jump into the Core 4 review. We're going to start with the dude that did not play, the DNP LMA. Didn't do anything, so we cut him off. Now, we're going to step into a play that I kind of liked because I knew the ownership was going to be low on him. Just coming back off of not an injury, but a rest. A couple games away for a rest. I didn't think a lot of people were going to be on him a lot, and they weren't. He was 10% owned. He was 7.9K. Went out and got 39.75 DraftKings points. This is Paul's brother, Mark. Not a very great game from him. We needed about 48 DraftKings points to justify the salary that we saw on Mark Gasol. He did not get that. He fell shy of the desired mark for us. The next play was Kyle Lowry. He was a play that I kind of liked. I liked him a lot, actually. I thought Kyle Lowry was going to be a really decent play. But something about they rarely go off together. I'm learning that this year. Last year, DeRozan and Lowry played off of each other very well, and they both had big games. This year, it's not like that. It's like either one guy goes off or the other guy goes off. So you've got to kind of know the matchup they're in to determine which one is going to be going off. And the Philadelphia game, it was a DeRozan game for him. Kyle Lowry had 38 DraftKings points, 16% in ownership. So he was owned enough to where the 38 points didn't kill you, but it definitely didn't take you like close to the cash line like you want to be. He was 8.2K, and we wanted 48 DraftKings points from him. Did not get that on tonight. The next play was probably the worst play in the Core 4, and it was Goran Dragic. He was about 7.3K, 100 more than Kemba, who had a fairly decent game. He had 27.75 DraftKings points at 20% owned. A lot of us were on him. He was sort of the industry chalk, and he just did not pan out. Not a great game from him. Not a great showing from the Core 4. One of them didn't even show the fuck up. LMA DNP. Now, we're going to jump into the most talked about, the feature 4, most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS Sweatshop, in the Facebook VIP, on Twitter. And this is where the Who Dat scored all the points over their player tonight. And let me tell you something. In the Facebook VIP, there was this dude. He was, oh my God, you got to get him in your lineups. This is a guy you got to start. I'm telling you, I've got him everywhere. I'm 100% on him, and I've got 10 lineups. He's due. He's going to pop. It's tonight. Tonight is his night. I'm telling you, you got to get him in your lineups. And we were like, but let me tell you, Robert Covington, 4% owned, 4.7K, 45 DraftKings points. Excellent game from him. Good call from you. Great call from the VIP. See, that's the beauty of getting into this group. And it's not like a bunch of people just throwing a bunch of shit out. We've got guys in here that are smart and that are winning money. I'm looking at a dude right now. E11 invested his $18 and is getting out $135. Looking at another cat, the homie got the avatar, made me feel so good, man. Second place, Bad Guy Jim. Second place in the $3 3 entry max, the 20K hot shot. Second place with the logo, baby. He's rocking the logo on there. Can you see that? Right there. He's rocking the Sweatshop logo. $750 was the prize there. You see what I'm saying? So cats is getting to the money. And it's not because I'm giving them picks. That's not what it's about. It's because they have isolated themselves in a group, in the VIP, with a bunch of people who know what the fuck they're talking about. They understand my model when it comes to building our core and sticking to it, and they are getting to the money. That's what this is about. The next play is the how did I miss that play tonight? Now, this goes especially for me because there's a few things in the DFS Sweatshop that are law. Some laws have been amended. Kemba at home, we're still working on that. But we know to attack Boston front court rebounding is always a safe place to go. And there were 3 ways we could have done that in this game. Kawhi Leonard was one. LMA, DNP was one. Actually, there's 4 ways, actually. David Lee for the cheap was one, and then there was Pau Gasol. Now we know LMA was DNP, so we had to choose between Pau, Kawhi, and David Lee. Now one of them was $8K in salary, Kawhi Leonard, but he could score a lot too. The other wasn't a big scorer, but he was a good rebounder and he was cheap as fuck, 3.5 for David Lee. Well, no, the way to go was in the middle. Pau Gasol, 10% ownership, 5.5K, brought you back 50.25 DraftKings points. Did exactly what we know was going to happen against the Boston Celtics. Attacking, rebounding. He scored a little bit too, had a great game, excellent game from Pau Gasol, and that's why he is the how did I missed that play of the night. The next play we're going to talk about is the heat check play of the night. Now, this doesn't always have to go to the guy who scores the most amount of points, the guy who just goes ham, he's the biggest salary. This doesn't go to him. This goes to the guy who just fucking balls and balls harder than everybody else. And tonight, that was John Wall. He was the best, not only the best player on the floor, but he was the best player on the slate tonight. And he went out and led all scores with 59 DraftKings points at 8.6K and 33% owned. This dude was carrying a third of all DFS players, a third of all DFS lineups on his back, and he definitely took it to the cash line if you got him in your lineups. Now we're gonna get to that one motherfucker, and this is crazy because just last night, this is to go to show you how finicky this shit is. Just last night, this motherfucker was a hero. Now you a motherfucking zero. Just last night, you took me exactly where I needed to be. I made some bogus ass picks last night, and because I had you won all me my money back and a couple dollars. But tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake. How the fuck you gonna go out at 3.5K? Price ain't move a bit. The only thing changed is the 3 players that are better than you on your team take the night off and say, hey, go ahead, do your thing. Go win one. Win one for the land. Matter of fact, you ain't gotta win. Just go get your shine on. And your sorry ass, fake ass Kobe fading away in the first quarter like it's Jordan in 92 in the fourth, missing jumpers, bricking shit, 1 for 8 in the first quarter. Man, you a motherfucking snowflake, J.R. Smith. Your snowflake ass. Keep that motherfucking shirt on. You need to get the fur coat. You need to get the fur coat. Yo, snowflake ass. I know you're cold. You got to be cold. You got to be freezing. You was ice cold all night long. Horrible game. J.R. Smith, you a motherfucking snowflake, and I ain't gonna roster your ass again, and I'm stopping right there. You can just take that for what it is. I'm not rostering you. J.R., you're dead to me. Let's move on with the rest of the show. Now, we're gonna jump into a quick recap of last night's games. Of course, there were 10 games, so we're gonna roll through them fairly quickly so we can get into our stack portions. We're gonna start in Philadelphia. Pretty good game between the 76ers and the Toronto Raptors. The score kind of didn't reflect how competitive the game was. We're going to start on the Toronto side, where we saw Jonas Valanciunas in 34 minutes had 17 points, 10 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. Excellent game for Jonas Valanciunas. DeMar DeRozan, we talked about him already, have 31 and 5 to go with 3 assists. Pretty good game from him. Kyle Lowry, he dropped a dub, but he had 4 rebounds and 7 assists. Not much else for him. And usually how he gets his money is the steals and maybe a block or 2 here. Hustle plays is usually how he stacks up his stats. Didn't really do that tonight. Corey Joseph off of the bench actually had a good game, 13 and 5 with 7 assists and 1 steal. We saw him in some scrub love, and also Damari Carroll stank up the joint for 19 minutes and had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. On the Philadelphia side, we saw 27 minutes of Joel Embiid. He had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Pretty good game from him, but the minutes were restricted. We knew that going in. I just cannot roster a player consistently when I know his minutes are capped, because the game flow is going to say different things. The game's going to say, oh shit, we need Joel, but the coach is saying, no, we don't, because he is on a minutes restriction. Fuck that. I don't got time for that. My money is, you can't restrict my money. And when I give this man that 7.5K, ain't no restriction on that. That's a straight up 7.5K. So if you can't give me a full game worth of work, I can't give you my 7.5K. It's too late now. When he was 5,000, yeah, we could do that. But the price is too high on this man now for us to know. Like, we know what the fuck you think he's gonna do in 27 minutes. You think he's gonna go out and score 60 points in 27? No, he's not gonna do that. So I can't roster this dude. I just can't. Bob Cove, we talked about him. The who that scored on the points over there, player of the night, had 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and 26 points. Knocked down a few threes. Really good game we saw from him. Ersan Ilyasova definitely underwhelmed in his 23 minutes. He was a pivot that I put out after I got the LaMarcus Aldridge news. I said, hey, man, maybe you can start Ersan Ilyasova. Trevor Booker is in the same price range. Julius Randle. Maybe you can go those spots. And only Booker was the only one that really panned out for people. Hope you did switch. You switched to him. The next game I'm going to get into, the Washington Wizards at home against the Charlotte Hornets. Now, this game almost went in overtime. My main man Kemba missed the game-tying three-pointer with 0.1 seconds left to go ahead and send the game into OT. But he did have a fairly decent game. Didn't really light it up. But he had 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. A respectable game from the boy Kemba. Nick Batum had an excellent game. 36 minutes, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals to go with a block for him. Saw a pretty good game from Frank Kaminsky off the bench. He had 10 and 4 with a triple one, an assist, steal, and a block. And Marco Bellinelli had 16 to go with 1 rebound and 1 assist. MKG didn't do much with his 26 minutes. He had 11 points and 3 rebounds to go with 1 steal. Horrible game from Marvin Williams, and a decent game from Cody Zeller. That dude will just get 20 fantasy points. He will just get 20. I think he knows after he hits 20 DraftKings points, he just goes and sits down. That's what we get from Cody Zeller, but I respect him nonetheless. On the Washington side, now Kelly Oubre started this game because another thing, the Markieff Morris news jumped out on us out of nowhere. And Kelly Oubre in 40 minutes, he led the team in minutes actually. They really like this kid, and I do too. I think he's better than Otto Porter. I think he should start over Otto Porter. But he had 15 points to go with 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Otto Porter did get in the game for a while. He had 36 minutes, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And, of course, John Wall, the Heat check player of the night, dished out 10 dimes, had 7 steals, 6 rebounds, and 25 points. Excellent game from him. We saw Jason Smith jump off the bench in 18 minutes and have 12 and 7 to go with 2 assists and 3 steals. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Orlando Magic at home against the LA Clippers. I wanted to roster Fournier and Elfrid Payton so bad. I really wanted to. But I just thought that it was chasing. I thought it was chasing. And it turned out not to be because they both had really good games. 24 from Fournier with 8 assists and 1 rebound. And Elfrid Payton off of the bench in 25 minutes had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And this next guy we're talking about, this is a clear indicator that want to plays a definite role in player performance. If you find yourself remembering something or thinking something or seeing something that will lead you to believe that this player may really want to play against a certain team, get him in your lineups. I had this thought about Jeff Green. I said, man, Jeff Green, he really did like playing with the Clippers. He thought maybe he could be that stretch 4 that they say that they really need now that they don't have one. And he really didn't want to leave when they got rid of him. So I said, man, I bet Jeff Green is going to stick it to the Clippers. And that's what he did, man. He had a really great game. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals for Jeff Green. He played with that want to. So remember that in the future. Pretty good game from Aaron Gordon. Now, baby Blake Griffin, now, I like to call him. I should have took him in this one just because the comparison between him and Blake Griffin are really real. They're both superb athletes, cannot really shoot the ball that well, but always find other ways to make themselves a positive influence in the game. And, of course, Aaron Gordon needs a little more seasoning. He also needs more playing time, but he went out and had an excellent game. He balled out against Blake, had 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists for him. Bismack Biyombo grabbed 12 boards and had 9 points. Not a great game from Serge Ibaka. He had 8 and 8 with 2 assists. We can leave that for the dogs. On the Clippers side of the ball, Not a great game from Blake Griffin. Blake had 23 and 7 to go with 3 assists. Even Chris Paul, he double-double, but it wasn't a big double-double. Not one of those Chris Paul games that we thought we were going to get. If you'd have told me last night that the game was going to be 113 to 108, because I thought it might have been a blowout, I'd have been like, hell yeah, give me all that Chris Paul. But he really didn't ball out. He had 16 points, 10 assists, 3 boards, and 1 steal. DeAndre Jordan had 22 and 12 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Nice game from him. And Lil Bruh, excuse me, not Lil Bruh, that's Seth Curry. The coach's son, Austin Rivers. All the light-skinned dudes look the same to me. 38 minutes for him. He had 25 points to go with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steals. Nice game for Austin Rivers. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Miami Heat at home against the Indiana Pacers. This was not a good game by any stretch of the imagination. The only guy that really got off to a point to where it was fun to watch was Hassan Whiteside. Man, dude had 22 boards, 2 blocks, and 26 points. Excellent game from him. We saw Tyler Johnson, 32 minutes, had 15 and 5 with 3 assists and 4 blocks. Goran Dragic, horrible game from him. He was definitely in the running to being one of the snowflakes of the night. He had 11 points and 5 rebounds to go with 6 assists and 2 steals. Wayne Ellington shitted the bed, 8 and 3 to go with 1 assist and 1 steal. Not good for him. Not much else we saw. Josh Johnson had 14 and 3 to go with 6 assists. Not a good game from most of the Miami players. On the Indiana side, it was pretty much some of the same. And we saw a decent game from Paul George, but not really one of those takeover games that we thought we were going to see going into this. In 38 minutes, he had 22 points and 7 rebounds to go with 3 assists. Not great at all. Miles Turner, 11 and 7. 5 blocks were big, though. And he also had 2 assists. Jeff Teague, 10 and 3 to go with 5 assists and 2 steals. CJ Miles chipped in 15 points and 2 rebounds. And Rodney Stuckey had 10 and 5 to go with 3 assists. Not a great game from them either. On the next game we're talking about, this is the game. Oh, it's a 225-point total. It's going to be scoring and buckets and layups and dunks. And, oh, there's going to be so much scoring in this game. It's 229-point total. Man, this game wasn't worth a fuck. LA Lakers going to Brooklyn to take on the Knicks. This game wasn't worth a fuck. How could we forget these are just two bad teams playing? Not a great game from Julius Randle. 6 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. A good game we saw from Timothy Mozgov. He had 12 and 13, a nice double-double at his salary with a steal and a block. And Luol Deng, man, the old man, is still getting it in. 11 and 8 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Not a great game from Sweet Lou Williams. He had 16 and 2 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. Jordan Clarkson, 12 and 4 to go with 1 assist and 1 steal. Not a great game from anybody. The highlight of the game was Larry Nance punching it on Brook Lopez. That was it. Not much on the Lakers side, but on the Brooklyn side, Bojan Bogdanovic had 23 points to go with 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Trevor Booker, 8 and 18 to go with 2 assists and 1 block. He fell 2 points shy of that double-double bonus. Brook Lopez, not a great game from him, 20 and 7 to go with 2 assists and 1 block. And Sean Kilpatrick had 22 and 5 assists to go with 4 rebounds and 1 steal. Pretty good game from Sean Kilpatrick. The next game I'm going to get into is where the Snowflake live. This is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Grindhouse with the Cleveland Cavaliers coming to visit, sans LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. And Mike Dunleavy in 23 minutes had 11 points and 6 boards to go with a steal. We saw Kay Felder get 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists to go with 2 steals. And your boy, Jordan McRae, had 9 points and 1 rebound. Horrible game from him. Even at his price point, that was not good. And J.R. Smith, 8, 2 assists, and 1 steal with his snowflake ass. On the Memphis side of the ball, not a lot to really love here as well. Tony Allen played pretty decently. 16 points and 8 boards to go with 1 assist, 3 steals, and 1 block. Marc Gasol, we talked about him. He did get a double-double, 17 and 11 with 3 assists and 1 steal. We also saw Troy Daniels off of the bench have 20 points to go with 2 boards and 1 assist. And Tony Douglas was actually the player of this game. He had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals for him. Next game we're going to get into, it's going to be the Houston Rockets blowing the motherfucking doors off of the Sacramento Kings. This game was horrible. I mean, they just lit him up, and it was bad. It was bad. Anthony Tolliver actually was the play of this game, man. He had a double-double in his starting minutes, 12 and 10 to go with 2 steals and 2 blocks. Omri Caspi in 26 minutes had 10 points and 5 rebounds to go with an assist. And Garrett Temple had 20 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. Not a great game we saw from Darren Collison. He was actually the best player on the floor, or should have been. He likes to hit the chicks, but he should have been the best player on the floor. But in 30 minutes, he had 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists. Not a great game from him. Willie Cauley-Stein in his 22 minutes had 11 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. On the Houston side of the ball, saw another casual triple-double from the Beard, James Harden. In 29 minutes, that's all he needed to do this. He had 15 points, 11 boards, and 14 assists to go with a steal. Ryan Anderson knocked down some three-pointers and had 22 and 6 to go with an assist. Trevor Ariza had 17 and 3 to go with an assist and 3 steals. And Patrick Beverley, 10, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal. Pretty good game from him. We also saw Sam Decker get into the action. 22 minutes for him, 19 and 7. Pretty good game at his price point. Clint Capella kind of underwhelmed. 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Not a great game from him. And Montrezl Harrell had 19 and 4 to go with an assist, a steal, and 2 blocks. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Dallas Mavericks at home against the Detroit Pistons. They got beat by 10. This is a very low-scoring game, a very bad game to watch, some bad basketball. And we're going to start with what should have been a great game for Andre Drummond. This dude had 3 points and 17 boards. Not a great game for him. Reggie Jackson had 20 and 2 to go with 6 assists. He's rounding into shape, coming into form. As he gets closer, we're going to see a lot better play from him. Aaron Baines in 19 minutes had 8 points and 10 boards off of the bench with a block. And not a great game from anybody else except John Lure, man. In 30 minutes, Lure had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. On the Dallas side of the ball, the Dorian Finney-Smith shit is not real. It's not. And I hope you didn't chase it, because in 29 minutes, he had 8 points, 5 boards, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Not a great game from him. Didn't see an awesome game either from Harrison Barnes. In 37 minutes, he had 19 and 5 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. Salah Mejri, he got hurt in this game. He did have 4 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. That was big. 3 blocks was big. And Darren Williams probably was the best player of the game. He had 16 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. Lil Bruh, Seth Curry had 23 minutes, 7 points, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Not a good game from him at all either. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Utah Jazz at the crib, Salt Lake City, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is where the gentleman who was a tired hoe went to see if he could resurrect some life and really get his game together. Did not happen against the Utah Jazz. Very slow-paced team, probably the second lowest in pace in the league, next to the Dallas Mavericks. And the Dallas Mavericks, their pace is slow because they're a bad team. Utah's pace is slow because they want to play slow. Right, on the Oklahoma City side, Russell Westbrook 27 and 6 to go with 5 assists with a steal. Enes Kanter had 19 and 2 with a triple, 1 assist, a steal, and a block. Steven Adams 10 and 5 to go with a steal and assist, 2 steals, an assist, and 2 blocks. Pretty good game from him. Not much else we saw. Andre Roberson did not score a point, but he had 5 boards and 1 assist. Horrible game from him. On the Utah side, Gordon Hayward played 31 minutes and could never really get it going. He had 17 and 2 to go with 2 assists and 2 blocks. Rudy Gobert had a small double-double, but a double-double nonetheless. 12 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 steals to go with 3 blocks. Rodney Hood led all scorers with 25 points, but he only had 1 rebound and 1 assist. We need more from you in the peripherals, Rodney. We just do. That's not going to cut it. We need more than that. Shelvin Mack had a pretty decent game, 15 and 5 to go with 5 assists and 1 steal. And Joe Ingles had 11 and 4 to go with 3 assists. Pretty nice game at that price point. The last game on the slate, and the game where some of your late night hammers came from, especially if you had Paul Gasol, was the San Antonio Spurs at the crib taking on the Boston Celtics. We're going to start on the Boston side. Avery Bradley, bro. Avery Bradley had a monster. Nice game from him. 35 minutes, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Nice game from Avery Bradley. Jay Crowder, when his when his number was called, man, he stepped in and he knocked down some big shots down the stretch, but couldn't get him to win the game. He had 15 points and 6 rebounds to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in 36 minutes. Not a great game from Al Horford at all. In 34 minutes, he had 13 points and 5 rebounds to go with 4 assists. Marcus Smart, he did jump off of the, he did start this game, and he ended up having 11 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals for him. Terry Rozier, the rookie, got into the action and 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists for him. Now that we've recapped the Boston side, let us go ahead and move over to the San Antonio side. Kawhi Leonard, man, in 36 minutes had 26 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals to go with the block. Pretty good game from him. We talked about Pau Gasol already, man. Awesome game. 17 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block in 34 minutes. Tony Parker had a pretty good game. In 25 minutes, he had 16 points to go with 7 assists and 2 rebounds. Not much else we saw from anybody else. David Lee, a lot of guys had him. I had a lot of David Lee in my lineups. He had 8 points to go with 10 rebounds and 3 assists and a steal. Now that we've recapped last night's games, let's go ahead and jump into the point totals. But before we do that, we're going to look at a little player pricing just to see where everybody's at in our roster building on tomorrow's 5-game slate. Jump right in here to our DraftKings account, and we do this just so that we can familiarize ourselves with not only the players but the slate in general. Okay, this is why we do this, because we want to know who is going to be in there, so that when any news comes out, we can quickly adjust and pivot to a player that is of similar value and price. Alright, so we're going to start here where, as you can see, Anthony Davis is going to be the most expensive player on tomorrow's slate at 11.5K. We've got a questionable tag applied to Giannis Antetokounmpo at 9.5. That's a pretty big drop-off. From 11.5 to 9.5, that's a big drop-off. So if you're saying right now, I'm fading Anthony Davis, there's a lot you can do by just fading Anthony Davis. We're going to get into that when we talk about our stacks. KD at 9.2, the price is down on him a little bit against the New York Knicks. 26th, Carmelo Anthony, probably one of the worst defenders at the position. We love Kevin Durant tomorrow. Immediately, I like Kevin Durant tomorrow. So that means I like a Golden State stack. That means the first place I'm going to be looking to stack is Golden State. Jimmy Butler at 9K flat. The price is up on him a little bit, especially against Giannis. Dame Lillard at 8.8. I think that's a stackable game. Of course, Steph Curry at 8.6. That price is not high enough to where we can't pair him, and I like that. We've got Kawhi Leonard at 8.3 against Phoenix. That's a stackable game too, especially if we see LMA come back off a day of rest. That means no one rostered him. Not a lot of people rostered him. That means the price is not going to change. It's going to still be pretty low, around that 6K range. Paul George at 8.1 against New Orleans. We can look at that. That's just too much. Porzingis, 8K? No. I'm a Knicks fan, and I love Kristaps, but I like my money more. No, I can't do that. That's too much for him. Draymond at 7.9. Excellent price on Draymond against the New York Knicks. Eric Bledsoe, 7.8. That's a sneaky play against San Antonio. A lot of people are going to be on that. People don't like the roster point guards, especially against San Antonio. Carmelo Anthony at 7.4, because just like Durant don't play no defense. Just like Middleton don't play no defense, neither does Durant. Not on the ball, no. Dwayne Wade at 7K flat against Milwaukee. That's a pretty good price on him. CJ McCollum at 6.9. We see a lot of green for the DVPs here. All this is green, bro. Nikola Jokic, a lot of people are going to be on him tomorrow at 6.5. I'm going to have some shares of him too, but I can tell you who I like a little bit more on his team. Klay Thompson at 6.4. Jeff Teague, 6.4. Jabari Parker in a plus matchup against Chicago, 6.3. I like that. Derrick Rose is probably not going to play. We're probably going to see some Brandon Jennings here. LaMarcus Aldridge, he's probably going to play tomorrow. Tyreek Evans is out, of course. Miles Turner at 6K flat. Don't know how I feel about that. Will Barton, no, at 5.9. Tim Frazier is questionable. Rajon Rondo is questionable. Wilson Chandler is questionable. Mason Plumlee at 5.6. I like that. I definitely do. Tyson Chandler against San Antonio at 5.4. That deserves consideration. Gallinari at 5.3 deserves consideration. Devin Booker, no, not against San Antonio. Powell, no. No way against Tyson Chandler and or Alex Len. I don't like that at all. Kyle O'Quinn at 5.1. Now, he is not like a center. So whenever he can play when they switch to Draymond Green is a center. Kyle O'Quinn can be on the court for that. So I may look to that. The price is up on him a little bit at 5.1, but that definitely deserves consideration. TJ Warren, he may play this game. He was out the last one. Moutier at 5K. He's definitely in play against Portland, I believe. Maurice Harkless is in play. Thaddeus Young, nah, not against Anthony Davis. Taj Gibson, I don't like him at all. I do like Robin Lopez against Milwaukee, though. A Chicago stack is probably going to be so safe. They're on the road. There is a guy on the other team that can push the pace, get the score to go up a little bit. I kind of like Chicago as a stack. We're going to get into that in a moment. Brandon Jennings at 4.6. If you wanted to jump into a Knicks stack, it would be pretty good. Patty Mills at 4.5 in a plus matchup against Phoenix. Greg Monroe, 4.4. PJ Tucker, I don't like that. Terrence Jones, 4.3. No. John Henson can be in play at 4.2 against Chicago. Jamal Murray. Now, I kind of like Jamal Murray. He had a really good showing last time out, and people are not going to be on him the way they were in the beginning of the year when him and Wilson Chandler were coming in and just scoring a bunch of points. But I kind of like Jamal Murray tomorrow. Jameer Nelson at 4.1. Now, you can keep that undersized dude. Courtney Lee at 4.1. I don't like that. Klay Thompson is a really good defender. He's not going to do much at all. Kenneth Faried at 4K. No. Amonte Ellis. He is out, of course. CJ Miles is in play at 4K flat. Tony Parker, he's probably going to rest tomorrow, probably, because he played tonight. We don't want to get popped with him. Alex Len is questionable. I think he's going to be playing tomorrow. Glenn Robinson III is in play at 3.9. Brandon Knight, 3.9, is questionable. Alan Crabb. This is the play I really like. Yusuf Nurkic at 3.8. Everybody is going to be on Jokic at 6.5. Jokic needs to return the value that we're looking for, 40 DraftKings points. Nurkic has pretty much similar upside, but he is almost half the price, and you know he's going to see the court. I like him. I like Nurkic. Joakim Noah at 3.8 is in play. He can play too while Draymond Green is on the floor with that small ball lineup. So he's in play too. Langston Galloway, of course, at 3.8. If you're stacking, he's in play on the short slate. Jerry and Grant. If Rondo's still out, you can look to him. I won't have him anywhere though. Miritic, no. Stuckey, questionable. For Al-Farouq, questionable. Manu Ginobili, no. Danny Green, no. Andre Iguodala, he is in play if you want to complete a Golden State four-man stack, because once the top 2 or 3 blow them out, he's going to come in for cleanup duty. Leandro Barbosa and some scrub love, he's in play. David Lee is in play. Marcus Chris, he is starting, and he had his first meaningful start last game, but I don't feel like I can start him against San Antonio. JaVale McGee at 3.4. If we don't see Jaja Pachulia, JaVale McGee may be a decent play to jump out the gate and score, have a good first quarter, maybe score 15, 20 points in the first quarter. He can definitely do that against New York Knicks. We miss enough shots. Solomon Hill at 3.4. Nah. Mike Beasley, Ed Davis, he's in play here. Malcolm Brogdon is in play if you want to go with a Milwaukee stack. Tony Snell, no. Buddy Hield, no. Dougie McBuckets, no. Mirza, no. Dwayne Dedman at 3.1. I kind of like him tomorrow. If we see, Powell sit tomorrow because LMA sat tonight. I kind of like Dwayne Dedman. Isaiah Cannon at 3K, no. Man, when is this guy going to come back, man? I liked him. Chris Middleton, he was a boss, bro. He was a great player. Him with that Milwaukee team, they will be something nice. I like Chris Middleton. Hopefully he'll be back after the All-Star break. Denzel Valentine. Blah, blah, blah. So that's what we have going on. Let's go ahead and jump into the point totals. That way we can get a more accurate assessment of which games we want to invest the most salary in, especially on a short slate where stacking is the motive. We're going to start in Milwaukee with the Bucks. This is a 209.5 point total, with the Milwaukee Bucks being the home favorite, giving up 3 points to the Chicago Bulls. Now, I've already stated I like a Bull stack where we get a big somebody like Robin Lopez to go with Wade and Butler, because at those salaries, now Butler is $9K, but Wade is $7, and Robin Lopez is fairly low. That will still allow us to pay up for a big one-off. Like if we just had to have Anthony Davis on our roster, we could roster those 3 guys in a stack and get Anthony Davis, or we could stack them and stack another 3 that we really like, and then grab 2 one-offs from 2 different teams. So Chicago stack is definitely in play tomorrow. The point total isn't as juicy as a couple of other ones on the slate, but it's a pretty good point total. And Chicago Bulls are on the road. Especially, we need to make sure that Giannis is going to be playing. If you were thinking about a Milwaukee stat, you could definitely go. See, most times when I play Giannis, I play Jabari Parker anyway. That's just how sparingly I do play Giannis. So that may be something that's on the radar. Giannis, Henson, and Parker, or maybe Giannis, Parker, and Delhi if you want to go cheap so you still can pay up somewhere else, because the price on Giannis is pretty high too. What was the price on him? Let's check that real quick. The price on Giannis. Yeah, he's the second highest price guy on the slate, 9.5. So the price is pretty high on him too. So you may want to pay cheap if you're gonna jump into a Milwaukee stack. The next game we're gonna talk about is gonna be the New Orleans Pelicans in a 209 point total against the Indiana Pacers. Now the Pelicans are the home favorite. They are giving up 3.5 points to the Indiana Pacers. It's a 209 point total. So on the Indiana side, I mean, the players are kind of mid-level. I mean, there's so many different ways you could go if you're stacking Indiana in this game. It's a small differential. The point total is over 200 like the other games on the slate. It may be some goodness in here if you want to go Paul George to go with maybe CJ Miles or Stuckey and Teague, or if you wanted to go from Paul George to inside Paul George, Thad Young, who I don't suggest going up against Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner. There's different ways you could go with the Indiana stack, but you're going to want to stack any roster you put in. You're going to want to stack. You're going to want to do it. On the New Orleans Pelicans side, now, in the past, I have gone with the type of stack where you see, Omar Ashik or Alexis Ajinça, but there's no need for that on this slate, man. Use Anthony Davis. If you gotta have Anthony Davis, you can just use him as like a one-off play. Ooh, you can just use him as like a one-off play to damn. Yeah, you can use Anthony Davis as a one-off play. You don't have to go too hard on the New Orleans Pelicans side. It's not really a stackable offense to me, just because Anthony Davis commands so much salary that I just don't see him as I don't see that as a stackable offense. So that's not an offense that I would be stacking at all. I would go to the Indiana side if I wanted to stack this game. The next game we're gonna get into is gonna be one of the highest point totals on the slate. This is the get my shit together real quick. One of the highest point totals on the slate. It is the Portland Trailblazers going to Denver to take on the Nuggets. It is a 220.5 point total, with the Nuggets being the home favorite. They are giving up 1.5 points to the Portland Trailblazers. Now, there's a ton of ways we can go. This is probably going to be one of the more popular game stacks and or team stacks on tomorrow's slate, because you instantly got Dame McCollum. Instantly. You've got Dame McCollum instantly. And on the Denver side, you've got Jokic and Gallinari. Jokic, Gallinari, Barton. Jokic, Gallinari, Wilson, Chandler. You got many different options there. But I'm going to tell you how I'm going to fuck them up. I'm going to stack this game. And I like McCollum, Lillard. But I like Jokic, Nurkic. I don't want any backcourt players or wing players from the Denver side, just because on the Portland side, those guys are so lengthy and rangy. When you talk about guys like Maurice Harkless and Evan Turner, that I don't want to take a chance with putting Danilo Gallinari in a position where he's got to score 40 points in order to make value for me. I would rather stick to the bigs, where I know there's going to be some rebounding, there's going to be some low post scoring. So I like Nurkic and Jokic on the Denver side, and on the Portland side, I like Plumlee, of course, McCollum, and Lillard, and that will allow you. Say if you wanted to work the Chicago stack, you could work the Chicago stack and the Portland stack, and maybe fit the two bigs from Denver in there to complete a full roster. You may be able to do that. I like that. That's a stack that I'm going to look into as I jump into my projections, and I put my stuff in the optimizer and pull it up and see what it gives me. Wilson Chandler, if he's playing, you can look at him. Moutier is going to be somebody who's probably going to be low owned, but can play a really good game against the Portland Trailblazers. Now they don't play stellar perimeter defense, so he's somebody that you can get in there too if you wanted to go Moutier, Jokic, Nurkic. But I'm definitely going to have Jokic and Nurkic together in a couple lineups and separately as some one-offs in other spots. The next game I'm going to get into is going to be the San Antonio Spurs going to Phoenix to take on the Suns. This is a 210-point total. Surprise. But San Antonio is giving up 7.5 points to the Phoenix Suns. Now, whenever I see San Antonio, I just think stay away. But on a 5-game slate, I don't know if I can be that selective and miss, a good play in a good spot. And Kawhi Leonard is definitely in a good spot. I won't be stacking the San Antonio side, but he may be that one-off play that I use to fill out my roster after stacking another two offenses on the same lineup. So I do like Kawhi Leonard tomorrow. We may want to look at LaMarcus Aldridge, especially if we get a rest from Paul Gasol due to the minutes he played tonight. Played heavy minutes, 36 minutes on the court, and we know how Popovich is. He may sit him, so we've got to be on the lookout for that. On the Phoenix side, I think Eric Bledsoe is a fantastic play in this game, because a lot of people are going to be scared off of him just because they're playing San Antonio. But I do think that Eric Bledsoe is, he scored 30 in his last 3 games. He's fucking balling right now. He's hot as fuck. There's any time during the year that he's going to have a good game against the San Antonio Spurs, it would be today. So I do like him. I think Tyson Chandler can be somebody that you can pair him with. I wouldn't go too much further outside of that, just because, Devin Booker, man, he's got to damn near score 35, 40 points to actually, crush that value the way we really need him to. He doesn't do much in the way of the peripheral stats. He's like a Carmelo Anthony light. So we don't really want to go there with him. We may get some scrub off of the bench. You're talking about Leandro Barbosa. If you want to, make a 3-man stack with a Phoenix bench guy, Barbosa, and you want to get Tyson Chandler and Bledsoe, that may be a nice way to go. There's a lot of different ways we can go when it comes to stacking. A lot of different ways we can go, but it's a way that we need. It's a way that we need to approach the slate, because the slate is so small, guys. Especially if you're jumping into those 11,000 people tournament in the quarter games, or you're in the 30,000 people or 25,000, I believe, the dollar games, or the 111,000 $3 games, or the $27 games, or whatever games that you're in. You see a lot of big GPPs. Now in cash, cherry pick in cash, do your thing. But I'm just gonna keep it real with you and tell you what I'm doing, because I don't play cash games. My version of a cash game is a single entry GPP, and I put the damn near the same lineups that I put in the big GPPs in the single entry. That's just me. So this is the way I'm going to be attacking the slate. Now, the final game on the slate, the late night hammer game, and the game with not only the largest point total, but the largest point spread, is going to be the Golden State Warriors at the Oracle against my New York Knicks. Now, Golden State just made it home from a tough road swing. Very tough road swing. I believe they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies on that road swing. They've been home for a day or two. They're rested. They done been around their women. And I think they're ready to whip some ass. So, I've got to pick two guys off of the Golden State starting lineup that I think will make it a blowout. Because this game is definitely going to blow out. This game is going to blow out. I'm telling you right now. The 14 points is probably good. It's probably a 25 point game. This shit is going to blow out. But I need to find out who is going to make it a blowout. And my guess initially is going to be Kevin Durant, okay, and Klay Thompson. Those are the two guys that I like the most when it comes to this particular game. Now, there's also going to be some scrub love that we can get. The scrub love is probably going to start because if you see JaVale McGee in the beginning of the game, I like him at that small price point to go out and just wreck shop and get me 20 points in the first quarter. And if we don't see him anymore, he's probably going to play 16 minutes for the entire game. So I do like JaVale McGee to go ahead and wreck shop real quick against the New York Knicks. On the Knicks side, this will lead us to jump directly to the, not bench players, but more of the role players, the guys that are not starting frequently. Like Brandon Jennings would be a pretty good play, I think, in this game. I do not want to roster Kristaps Porzingis at 8K. I don't want to do that. Carmelo Anthony is in play. He would be the only reason why the game stays close, because Kristaps can have a good game and they still get blown out. But if Melo has a good game, like a good Melo game, it's gonna stay closer than the actual point total was telling us. So, but I don't like Kristaps in this game tomorrow. I won't be rostering him. I would take Melo as a one-off, just in case he gets the juices flowing and he wants to ball out. There's a lot of want to, and he wants to play, and he goes out and he scores against Kevin Durant, who doesn't play that well. Really great defense, especially on small forwards that can shoot it the way he can. And we know Melo can shoot the ball. So I like Holiday off of the New York Knicks bench. I think he'd be a decent play. And then we can look to Hernan Gomez to get that scrub love in the late part. And as well, on the Golden State side, you can look at Ian Clark. You look at Andre Iguodala. There's some good pieces to this game. You just got to find them. And the best way to do that is to watch previous games and to see exactly who comes off of the bench in the rotation and what's going on with that. So we talked about some stacks, man. Hopefully I got the juices swirling around in your head and you understand that this is not a cherry pick slate, especially if you are not entering 150 lineups. This is where you grab a couple offenses that you like, 2 or 3 offenses that you like, and you make them shits work together to be one lineup and one team, and you can go out and you can keep it 300, man. I appreciate it. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Thanking you for coming along with me. There are many, many ways to support the show. You're doing it the purest form right now, just by giving me a voice, giving me a platform on YouTube, liking, subscribing, and commenting on the post below. But if you wanted to support the show further, there's a button over there, maybe over there. Click the button that says support the show and do with the button whatever you want to do. Go where it takes you. You can also cop some DFS Sweatshop Swag. If you're in the 300 Club regularly, you got to have that swag now. Got to have that swag. You can also I'll send a little something to my personal PayPal. It's simmonsmaurice95@yahoo.com. But no matter what you do, no matter how you want to support the show, it doesn't matter what you do, just always keep it 300.